Hey everybody, welcome to the garden. I hope you're having a great day. Shout out to the lemon and lime lovers and everybody in between. It's time for the crypto market recap. Let's hop into all these charts, see what the story is and what it may be. And remember, if you're interested in any of the services I provide, please check the links in the description below for both the Patreon and Discord. Okay, so we're going to be looking at crypto today, but I do want to look at the dollar, and we'll take a quick look at the U.S. equity market because what a day it's been, and a lot of it can be attributed to the U.S. dollar. So hopping right into the charts, take a look at the dollar. So this is what we want to see if we want to see that upside. Dollar coming towards a major resistance level and finally getting a nice earned pullback to a key level and finally losing it on this daily candle to probably come and challenge this rising trend line and potentially this zone here at 108 to 106. All right, so we'll see as the days progress if we're going to have enough downside pressure to break through this ascending trend line, which in all honesty, it looks very, very primed to do so. You have to remember the steeper the trend line is, the more likely that it will break once revisited. And this is a pretty steep trend line, at least when you compare it to the trend line down here, which eventually will be revisited as support if this level should be broken. If it breaks today, that's great because then we're going to be looking at 108, then 106. Probably look to consolidate here and see some more upside and hopefully make a new lower high from this high and then continue the trend down to eventually challenge this ascending trend line. So that's kind of my thinking right now. That would be the most ideal in the short term. But long term, guys, like I've been saying, the dollar is still very bullish. Okay, you look at the weekly, you look at the monthly. It broke structure, like it's bear structure here, and it's broken bullish. It looks beautiful to go higher over time. Okay, so looking into the into the future, months, years, dollar looks great. But in the short term, we are looking at some significant downside potentially, and that is in line with what we're seeing from the central banks, and a lot of them are starting to blink a bit. So if you haven't been paying attention, we had our first case of a major central bank, the Bank of England, blinking and actually cutting, not raising rates, but cutting rates, easing when they promised to raise rates. So even they have felt the pain over in England. And then just today, I believe, the Australian central bank was slated to raise by 50 basis points, but they ended up blinking and they only raised by 25 basis points. So it was a big surprise to the markets. We're starting to see a policy change. So if you go back to my recaps, I would give you levels, but I always premise on that hey, a lot of this would change if we start to get to policy changes, right? So if I gave you a really low level on Bitcoin where it's going to get hit, but we start hearing that the Fed's not going to raise rates anymore, they're going to look to ease, then that changes the whole game. We could be looking at short-term major upside, okay? Major upside, but it is only short-term. Because what we're also seeing, because they are blinking, they're also waving the flag that, hey, we have lost control of inflation. All right, we've lost control. And now this is them trying to regain control, but printing money never does that. All right, it just worsens the problem they are in. So, don't see this as this is the new normal. Oh my God, we're just going to go up. Be very careful because now we're primed. The markets are becoming primed for a major black swan event that's likely going to be the debt market. Okay, the debt market is likely going to implode. When? That's anyone's guess. That's crystal ball stuff. I don't deal with that. But it's likely going to explode much sooner rather than later. Okay, because we just crossed the $31 trillion mark in the U.S. debt clock. And I'm sure many other countries are breaking new records for their debts as well. So be very careful, especially as we go into the spending season. That is, Christmas, Thanksgiving, and other holidays, overseas. So be very, very careful. But overall, this is great for us short term if you were looking for upside, which, in the Lemon Garden, we have some short positions, but we have far more long positions than short. So this is great. And today was a great day for our portfolio. So watch out for the dollar. Likely going to come to at least this ascending trend line, but eventually make it back into this zone, and then we'll see if it's going to have enough fuel to actually pop up after taking liquidity down here, or if it's just going to be another lower high and continue a actual trend to the downside, getting back towards 100. So 100 is my prime level where I see the Dixie getting to. All right. So let's go on to the Dow next. So Dow, quick look. Like I said, popped these lows, the 2022 lows, the former 2022 lows, made new lows, and after taking all the liquidity down here, now having a nice pop up, and probably gonna, honestly, probably just gonna get all the way back towards this level up here, towards 32,000. Maybe even higher, going towards 33,000 towards this descending trend line, but I think it's a nice safe bet that you do see it get towards this level here, okay? It's going to attack this entire displacement here. All right, so this nice drop here, it's going to attack as much of it as possible. So it's probably going to look to take at least 60% of it to maybe 80% of it, which is right around this level here. So watch for the Dow to continue its move going into the week and potentially next week. But once we get toward this level and start encroaching on this descending trend line, watch out for any weakness because we will see significant downside from there. Okay, and again, the Dow is the master. It is what controls everything. So once the Dow starts showing weakness, the S&P will follow, then the NASDAQ follows the S&P, and then crypto follows NASDAQ and S&P in hand. Okay, so we'll look at the Dow, and once the Dow starts showing weakness, then we'll probably see everything else, follow suit. But as of now, it looks great to continue higher. Broke back above the level of 29,595, which is its COVID pivot level, the high pivot prior to the drop. So it's nice to see, and we'll likely see another, couple hundred points, maybe even more. All right. Okay, so let's go to S&P. Similar story, was able to break through the 2022 lows down here as well. Took that liquidity, even pierced through this level here. Did not reach its 2020 high pivot, the COVID pivot here. Did not reach it, which that's not unexpected considering it went much higher, much faster than the Dow at the time. So it has a lot more room to the downside. But it took enough liquidity down here, having that nice pop, and just like the Dow, look for it to come back towards this daily pivot level here at 39,063.9 and potentially even higher, going all the way towards 40,060, maybe even 4,100. And it's possible it could try and take out the liquidity up here, but if the Dow starts showing weakness as it's approaching its daily pivot, then the S&P will as well. Okay, the S&P tends to overshoot, so I would not be surprised if it does take out this high pivot and starts attacking this level at 42.45. But that's a pretty awesome move. All right, so we do have to rail in our expectations because we want to remember we are still in a bear market. Even with this beautiful rally, we are still in a bear market. So any upside, look at it with some skepticism. Okay. All right, let's take a look at the NAS next. Again, very similar. Took out its 2022 lows finally, just like the Dow and S&P. And after taking that liquidity, having a nice bounce to the upside. And, the NASDAQ has a much cleaner look of where you can expect it to get to. So look for it to attack the top of this descending channel again. However, with the descending channels, you have to expect that they will break to the upside. The probabilities of them breaking bullish is pretty high. Okay, we don't know exactly when it'll happen, but as the top line gets tested over and over and over in quicker and quicker succession, then the probabilities start increasing of it breaking to the upside. So now that the NASDAQ is likely going to get back up there after, pretty much like 3 quick attacks, this being the third, we could look for this to actually potentially break. And I do see the NASDAQ taking out all the liquidity up here and maybe even going after this upside here. And that could be systemic in us getting a bit of a sneak peek that maybe tech is going to explode again. It's potentially there, but you want to look at this stuff with some skepticism. I do see this high pivot getting challenged at the least, the green zone being revisited potentially. But if we do see this high pivot getting tested out, watch for the denial back from the orange zone back to the green zone. Okay, you have to be careful of that. If it holds the green zone after a move like this, right, that's extremely bullish. This would be extremely bullish and would prime us to go after the liquidity up here, fill out all the displacement here, the imbalances here, and that could be potentially something. Okay, we're not there yet. We're just mapping out what may be. All right, what's most likely still, even at this point, is that the NASDAQ gets to the top line of this descending channel and finds some serious weakness in this zone and continues down. All right, so if we start reaching the top zone of this level or even the green zone as the Dow is approaching its high daily pivot that I mentioned prior, and the Dow starts showing weakness, it's gonna be very hard for the NASDAQ to show relative strength and break through these levels. So again, like I've been saying, be very, very skeptical. But overall, this has been awesome. So if you've been long, if you're in lemon garden, you're in the swing trading service, then this has been a pretty good day. A lot of our portfolio is now bursting into the green. Actually, have not taken any profits off of the crypto trades yet because I do see some more upside. And we're actually going to pivot towards crypto now. So let's take a quick look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin is doing exactly what I was hoping it would do. As I was saying, in the past recaps, it's like this looks like an Adam and Eve double bottom, right? This is the structure that you normally see. You have Adam here and then the higher Eve. And if we can get that fall through to break through to the upside, it would potentially lead to a massive move going towards 30,000, 28,000. So this general zone here. And I'm starting to see that is potentially on the table here. We don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but this daily candle and yesterday's really are really nice to see, and it shows potential strength to break through this high pivot here. So pretty much cover this imbalance here, break through this high pivot, grab the liquidity, and break through this trend line, hold it as support, and then continue higher, and then start attacking these pivots up here, the liquidity up there. So this is exactly what I wanted to see. And we potentially are going to look at an extended move higher for crypto. Because if you paid attention to what the equity markets have been doing for the past 2-3 weeks, a lot of it's just been going down. Crypto has held its level, specifically Bitcoin, quite a bit, right? Bitcoin has not moved from the 2017 highs that much. It's held that general zone, which is showing relative strength to the markets, which is a very, very good sign, right? That means there's a lot of strength here, that crypto is primed to show some upside. Okay, but again, my view on things short term is upside, but my opinion has not changed much. I do see more downside, in the midterm, right? We've made the downside move as I was stating it up here, but I do see more. I do see us generally getting towards the 14Ks, potentially the 12Ks, because I do see the NASDAQ, the Dow, and the S&P going lower. Okay, because you can look at the other recaps of me mentioning that, and I do believe that they will go lower, and because of that, crypto will also likely go lower with it. All right, but right now, looking at the short term, I do see some upside. First step for Bitcoin is obviously attacking this imbalance here, and then going for this high pivot level here, which is looking likely. We have that higher low from the Adam and Eve bottom potentially, and if that breaks, then it's a straight shot going after this liquidity here. Whether we actually break it on our first attempt, that remains to be seen. Sometimes it does take some time, but if we were to go straight through to it, I would likely see us pull back. So if we were to just shoot right through, do something like this, we'll likely get pulled back, and we'll have a fairly significant consolidation, most likely a bullish consolidation, and then continue higher. If you like head and shoulders, you can potentially say an inverse head and shoulder, kind of like this. I'm not a big fan of those structures, but they're there, right? I'm not no poo-poo on them, but they're there. But essentially, we want to see firstly how price is going to break through this level if it should get there, and if it does get through there pretty hard, then look for nearly a straight shot going towards almost 25,000, 24,500, and then you'll probably find enough liquidity there to then get a pullback, and then hopefully we'll get a continuation of making another higher low after breaking this down structure. That's what I generally am looking at, and then eventually we'll make that move to 30K and potentially higher. Okay, we're not saying we're going to stop at 30K, but I do see that as being a level of where you'll definitely find most definitely find some rest, right? So if you have the upside, you'll likely find some rest there. All right, let us go to Polkadot next. Isn't it crazy, guys, before I go forward, but isn't it crazy, like, this chart has not changed at all, right? I have not changed this chart in months, and seeing these lines play out and just pretty much work, it's like magic. It always makes me smile when I see these old charts, all the lines really just stay active and relevant. It's crazy. All right, so looking at Polkadot, which I also have not really changed much. Again, very similar, holding this consolidation, which is actually looking more and more bullish by the day. Look how much it's squeezing down, right? Look at this wedge squeezing down. So this is an actual bullish wedge forming, which I would say is on fairly major support. So, there's a lot of potential here for DOT to just break out hard. And that's why I've been aiming for at least the $10 and change level to tack this liquidity up here. All right, so we even got tighter after this, after this pivot up here, got even tighter. So now we're potentially showing another potential move to the upside in the very, very short term if this is going to be respected. And then the first level will obviously be this high pivot at about $8, and then eventually significantly higher going towards 10 and change to take out this liquidity here, and most likely tap beyond this level here. It's super, super likely that once this gets broken down to the upside, should it get broken, that we just break straight on through this and pretty much break out of this whole consolidation here, right? So this whole consolidation is probably going to get broken through, but the challenge is obviously we first have to break through, right? We need to see Polkadot have that follow through, and right now the environment is prime for it to happen. There hasn't been that much positive activity around crypto, but now I'm starting to see it's there. And if Polkadot's going to do it, we're getting to that time. If it doesn't do it, that's really bad. It's going to show a lot of weakness, but it's very unlikely. It's very, very unlikely, especially if Bitcoin is doing what I think it's doing, virtually with that Adam and Eve double bottom here. So I really love this structure. I have a lot of expectations for this, but if it doesn't work, that's fine. We have the levels. We have the levels that we're gonna target from $5 and then down to $4, and that zone will most likely hold. It's very likely, and then you'll probably get that retest back to $6 and change, maybe even $7. And and then we'll look how we'll see how the chart looks then. Probably will have taken profits by then, because we're actually not that far out profits for Polkadot. We've actually been pretty stable in this trade. Most of our trades have not been that bad. I think Bitcoin has been the largest drawdown, but our altcoin trades, some of them we sat in them for quite a while, but they're really, really small positions, relative to our portfolio. But they've also not really been super far in drawdown, which is pretty interesting considering how long we've been in some of them. But yeah, so again, Polkadot looks great. Just in that squeeze, we'll see if we can break that descending wedge bullish. Cardano, okay, so fairly similar to Polkadot, but again, holding the level, but it's in that squeeze, right? It's in that squeeze. So give this time. We'll see if it'll actually have that follow through the breakthrough, which again, if Bitcoin shows the strength, it will. And the levels you want to look at. So if you're in the trades with me, or you're looking at getting a trade, just start attacking. Look for where liquidity resides. You can always find it with the pivots. Liquidity is going to reside up here from people who shorted. So if you bought down here and it goes up to here, take your money. Okay, take your money. If you see this as being a bullish structure, then look for this structure to break bullish on your side. If it does, enjoy the ride. Hold on. And then start targeting the higher pivot levels. Okay, because then you're looking at a change of trend, a change of character in the chart. You gotta learn not to be too afraid of holding on to winners and recognize when things are failing. Okay, so look for the bull structure to break if you're buying down here, and then I wouldn't even target this. I would target this level up here at about 60 cents. Might as well, because you bought down here, your risk reward's great. If you bought higher, then that's fine too. You're still in a bullish structure. You can trust the structure or look to add on. All right, so I like what I'm seeing. If we do break down, look for the 30 cents level, and potentially even lower towards a quarter. 30 cents. Again, it's gonna be another high value, high level of interaction. But right now, it doesn't look like that's on the board at the moment. Cardano has been holding these levels very, very powerfully so far. So we'll see how this matures out. But I do like what I'm seeing from all these structures. Again, bullish structures. Again, the probabilities are on our side, but they are probabilities. There are no guarantees. All right, so looking at Avalanche, there we go. So Avalanche, pretty interesting. Again, very similar to Bitcoin. Broke this bullet bearish ascending structure, and then the fall through to the downside was not that much. Started really weakening out to the it just wouldn't go down much further past $16. And ever since has been very, very tight. I mean, these are daily candles, folks, and this is barely anything, right? This is super tight, and honestly, it's just starting to look more and more like it's trying to round that bottom here, right? So again, following Bitcoin's path, I see Avalanche, having significant upside, and the upside I'm targeting, in truth, is obviously this first level at 2130, but this ascending trend line here is going to be key. I think this is a prime target because what it's showing is it's going to test the structure that it broke down from, but also this kind of coincides with the liquidity up here in this high pivot as well as over here. So there's going to be plenty of room to the upside here, and that's a massive move. So I do see a move back to $30 at the least, and potentially even higher, depending on how fast or slow it rises. I really, really like how Avalanche is looking. They all look very, very similar in crypto these days. But if we do see downside, look for a pretty significant drop on Avalanche. I think you're seeing $10 and potentially even lower, going towards the $8 and $7. It probably will hold those levels. Those are we have not really seen those levels, get touched by Avalanche. But you have to start looking at it psychologically. A lot of people that watch it drop from 20 to 10 will see it on a big discount. So you'll get a lot of activity 10 and sub 10, and that usually will get you another 20-30% bounce back to like 12, 14 bucks, something like that. Okay. All right, so let's look at Solana. Okay, Solana again, very, very similar to Avalanche, which those two are more similar to Bitcoin than, let's say, like Polkadot and Cardano. Broke that rising structure to the downside like the probability suggested it would, but is also showing a potential rounding structure here. If it can get that fall through to break past these pivots here at 35.40, then it'll start looking really nice to see some upsides and tack this first pivot level here. But again, just another higher low from this low here made in June. So we potentially are going to see that continuation to the upside. And obviously, like I'm targeting for Avalanche, I would be targeting this level around here, so around 50 bucks essentially is what I'm really looking at for Solana. So again, you just want to attack these pivots here, see where all the liquidity is probably residing, and again, you see all this displacement here, this imbalance here. It's all primed to be grabbed. Okay, so watch for that move to the upside to at least grab this stuff here and then potentially attack the stops up there. It really is that simple. It really, really is. All right, so let's take a BNB. Probably my favorite chart. I mean, it is absolutely gorgeous, and our position is looking great. Love this chart. Attacking the first level here that I've been eyeing, this pivot level here. It's obviously showing some respect to it, but I do see this getting broken through, rather soon. I would say tomorrow is where I'm looking for this to get broken through. It potentially can find resistance if Bitcoin starts weakening out significantly, but Binance looks absolutely great. If Binance was in a vacuum, if this chart was just by itself, not affected by anything else, I would be targeting anywhere up to like almost 500 bucks, going towards $450. This is like, it's primed to get up there. That's how this structure looks. But you have to keep into account what kind of markets we're in, what it's affected by. We are in a bear market. It is unfortunately highly affected by Bitcoin. So if those things start showing weakness, if the bear market starts rearing its head again, it's very unlikely to start getting towards these levels. But I do see it getting towards at least this high pivot zone here at 300 to 340 bucks around this zone. And then, looking to attack as much of this drop, this imbalance as possible, which is about 340 bucks to 350. But even higher, you can find some other spots around 370 to almost 375. So I think that's where you're generally going to see BNB get to, as long as we don't see, significant weakness coming out of Bitcoin anytime soon. Okay, if we have a couple of days to a week or two of Bitcoin just being what it's doing now, just small increases or nothing, no signs of exhaustion, then I do think you'll get a lot of altcoins having nice bursts to the upside as they have been. But Binance is primed for a major burst to the upside, in my opinion, as well. And then if we lose this level, so let's look at the downside possibility. So if we do lose this level, we start failing off of it and it starts going after liquidity down here, well, that's exactly what's going to happen. So it would break down and start attacking this level, and likely, just looking at this structure, it will likely break this level and probably start a consolidation sort of like this. Okay, and depending on how the candles look, I would have to give it time to see where I'm leaning, where the probabilities are kind of pushing me towards. But if it does lose these levels and starts breaking lower, it's a double top after a higher low, usually means a consolidation, not an immediate attack on the next low, but it can lead to that, right? Depending on how the consolidation looks. So, if we want to see upside in the short term, we just want to see this level get broken through very, very quickly rather than it having to stall here. We really shouldn't have to see, if we're going to have strength, any consolidation here. We should see within a day or two this level broken through, and then this level broken through, and then as we approach this level, find consolidation, right? And ideally a bullish consolidation to try and break through this level, get the power, the fuel from that consolidation to then break higher to these higher zones up here. That's what you want to see in a bullish structure, and that's what looks likely as of now. All right, so let's take a look at EOS. So EOS again, I like its structure as well. Had a pretty interesting double top level here, came down, broke this low pivot here, took liquidity there, started attacking this level as well at $1.15. But it's also now showing signs of kind of chilling out. We'll see if it's going to have that move back towards $1.42, because its structure, though it's not too bad. I don't see that much upside in the short term. The way this looks, it's decent enough, but it did lose its short term bullish trends. So if you're just looking at the trend line here, so it did lose this level, which is fine. That's not that big a deal, because what you really want to see is this being held, right? So you want to see this level being held right here, which obviously that's what we just tapped into, right? But this is the short term, far more, I don't want to say, not parabolic, but far more aggressive line to the upside. That's what we're likely going to see get targeted at some point if this trend line that we're at pretty much now holds, right? So if we see this level hold, then we're likely going to see consolidation here, and then hopefully move back towards these high pivots. Will probably coincide with this general ascending trend line zone, right? You don't always have to get exactly at the trend lines. You can get towards the zone and then start failing off of it. That's fine. TA is not perfect, but that you're getting the gist of the structure essentially. So that's likely what we'll see, but this implies a much longer sort of move, and that makes sense for EOS, because if you pay attention to EOS, it tends to actually take quite a while to get any fuel to make any big moves. It makes its moves though, that's for sure. When it has the big moves, it makes them, but it does seem to take some time for sure. It doesn't move as quickly as other altcoins. That's at least from what I've observed. And looking at LUNC, which is the last coins we're long. So all the coins we went through just now are coins that we've been long. So LUNC, open long, came into the zone as I kind of showed in a couple other recaps. I was hoping for another drive down towards this zone here. We would have done an add-on, but came right into the zone, popped right out of it. Beautiful move so far. Not out of the woods though. Could definitely see it come right back, and maybe even go lower. But as of now, this is really nice. I do see it potentially going higher though, rather than coming lower, and start attacking this level up here. So making almost like a triple top kind of structure. I'm not aiming for the moon with LUNC. I do like how LUNC looks overall. I think it's very bullish, but it's not as bullish as BNB, at least right now. It's like prior the big move that BNB made. And because of that, I do just want to take the fruit, the lowest fruit on the tree, pretty much. I butchered that analogy, but the lowest fruit, pretty much, because I do want to respect that it is still in a general range. Okay, so if I can grab it, after getting down here, maybe towards this level here, or maybe a little bit higher at the top here, that's fine by me. That's a great move percentage-wise. I think it's almost like, I want to say almost 20%. I'm totally content with that, and it just helps with keeping our risks down, and any other positions we're in, it just lessens the risk of them. And that's that's how we control our portfolio weight, and that's the way I've been trading for so long, staying safe. But yeah, I like the position we're in. If you're in this trade with me, so far so good. Mainly targeting these high levels here. I'm mostly leaning towards closing out the whole position at 8.72. That's my current thesis right now, my current idea. If I change it, I'll let you know in the Discord or in the next recap video. All right, so MATIC. So we're gonna go over some shorts. All right, sorry. We're going to go over some short positions that we're in. And MATIC, I believe when I first went to this position, I had made very clear I have every intention of adding on to this short. This is going to be a short that I'm going to slowly build out took our first position, and I have the next positions already mapped out. Towards this zone, we'll take another one. Again, we're at 1% of our portfolio. We'll add another 1% here, and then I do have higher levels, so I want to add them onto. If it does take out these high levels here, we'll probably see a nice move going towards the 125, 124 zone. Maybe if it shows a lot of weakness at 115, but I am targeting these higher levels. From here, though, it is very, very likely you'll see MATIC do something like this, and then break higher, and then start some sort of bearish consolidation up here, okay, and then break lower, down back towards $1.05, $1.08, and then potentially start a bullish consolidation to get back to these levels and break higher. All right, so that's what I'm targeting. So if we should have a higher move, I am targeting a consolidation, a bearish consolidation or a retracement from these zones, and I'll be targeting these high pivots again, or as low as this zone here. Because if we have a consolidation here, a significant one here, I will start targeting the liquidity lows down here. That is my thinking right now. All right, but I am totally comfortable where we're at with MATIC, even though we are not deep in the red, but we're slightly in the red. But I am very comfortable, and I'm looking forward to it potentially going higher, so we can add on to the position. Litecoin, again, very kind of similar to EOS. Has a lot of times where it's very, very tight, doesn't really do much, but then it has its times where it explodes higher. Right, so I am short Litecoin. I'm under the impression I will be adding on to this short as we come higher towards these high levels here at 60 plus, but I don't see that much explosion left in Litecoin. In the short term, I see us getting as high as 69, potentially as high as 74, 75 to attack these liquidities over here, this liquidity zone over here. But once that gets tapped, I do see us coming back and retracing 50% of the move. So 50% of this move at the least. So that will, if we add on to our short at the levels I'm looking at, that'll be a massive, massive profit going short for us. So that's the general structure I'm seeing. If I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. I still have higher levels that I'm looking at. Get very small position size, because gotta be very careful with the shorts. But I am seeing this being highly probable to happen. If it should fail here, which I don't see this being likely, where it fails from here and starts going lower, then we're looking at the low levels at 46, going down towards $40. I would be looking to target this low here for the liquidity down here, for sure. But I don't see this failing yet. Not yet. All right, so Ethereum, started a baby short on this as well. I see upside on Ethereum for sure, but Ethereum has a lot of work to do. So Ethereum's going to go through, in my opinion, many bouts of consolidation. Many bouts of consolidation as it rises. So I do see Ethereum rising generally, but I do see it eventually getting towards the downside. So as it breaks through these, this small wick level here, it's likely going to fill out the displacement, the imbalance that's been formed here, and get towards the 1700 level. I do see 1700 becoming a fairly decent zone of resistance. It may, depending on the level of rejection, I may end up closing the short in a minor profit. But if it is a consolidation here that's bearish, then I'll be looking for a deeper drop, going probably back towards 1350 to 1400. If it's going to be a pretty lackluster rejection, then after I add on to this zone, because I do have an add-on level around here, which will bring our pretty much our average entry to be around the middle of the zone here, then I'll be looking for a close to break-even trade, because you got to be very careful with Ethereum. If it's showing major signs of strength, you want to get out of the way. It won't be that big a deal. It's very unlikely, though, that this turns into a major loser, because I do have a couple levels higher should it just start breaking through that I will be looking to add on to. And ideally, I am hoping for a big move to the upside. So what I would like to see is a break through these levels and start filling the short limit orders I have, and ideally taking this level out. That's what I would like to see, because what is going to follow that is it's going to likely then fill out the entire imbalance it makes over here. And then with our add-ons, after taking the high liquidity up here, we'll probably have an average entry somewhere up over here, and then we'll look to pretty much look to take out as much of this move as possible. I'd be aiming for anywhere from 1700 again, and potentially even lower, going back towards 1500. So ideally, I do hope Ethereum explodes higher, but I'm not seeing that yet, at least not right now. Okay, I think that's everything we're in right now. I'm eyeing other stuff, but nothing, nothing's really hit my other levels. Let me take a quick look at XRP before I go. XRP is in a nice bullish consolidation. So if you go back to the recap I mentioned XRP, I gave you pretty much two scenarios of what would happen. Really three, but two bullish scenarios. One was if it got to this level and then pretty much retraced, and the retracement came all the way back down towards 39.40 cents. That's still bullish as long as it holds that level, right? But the most bullish scenario I gave was it would hit these zones and then start a bullish consolidation, and it would have to hold this level here at 45.3. Right, I said it was very clear, very important that it held this level at 45.3. If it does that, then the bullish consolidation is very strong. It's very, very strong, and that's exactly what we're seeing. So watch for this bullish consolidation. Once it matures out, once it's primed to be broken, if they get the fall through, you're going straight, straight to the red box here, which is around 58 cents to 64 cents. So let's round it up. 65 cents to 60 cents is the general zone. Watch out. That will be a major zone, and honestly, it makes a lot of sense attacking the high liquidity here. Pretty much filling out this entire imbalance over here. A lot of clear indications that this is the next target level for XRP to watch out for. But I do love what I'm seeing out of XRP. So if you've been holding XRP, yay! We're seeing some upside. Let's see. Let's take a quick look at Luna. So if you were in my Discord, I've called out Luna all the way down here. I was very proud of the call out, and we rode it pretty much right to the top. Took out most of the profits up here, and then took out the rest of the profits around this zone here where it's at. I pretty much made my decisions off of the Ichimoku, and I'm still going to do that. I'm still going to do that with this coin. So I'm watching it very closely. The people who may still be in Luna, I have not abandoned Luna Classic. I'm just watching it, took my money, and now I'm waiting for an opportunity to get in again, but I'm not going to make the decision outside of Ichimoku with this coin, because if I get into it, I'm going to look to try and ride a larger trend again, and I'm going to wait for Ichimoku to tell me to do that. And right now, Ichimoku is telling me what you're seeing here is a range, okay? There's nothing here. It's a range. It looks bullish, okay? This looks like a bullish consolidation, but it is a range, and I want to stay out of it. I'd rather wait for Ichimoku to tell me that the range is ending, we're breaking to the upside, and then I'll hop on for the ride. That's my thinking, and that's what I'm going to do. But right now, I'm staying away from it. I don't see much reason to be in it, especially since I'm in all this other stuff, and Luna's more of like a fun, just kind of lotto ticket sort of play right now. All right, I think that's everything I want to go over. That is, all right, everyone, thank you for your support. Thank you for being in the Lemon Garden. If you have any questions, make sure to reach out to me via DM or just on the server, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And that's about it. That's about it. All right, everyone, remember, be patient, be vigilant, and be nimble. Love you guys. Take care. Bye.